Good evening. Well, the government shutdown continues, and it may impact the museums. If it continues into next week, then the Smithsonian museums here will be closed. They were open today. Let's take a look at the museums after sunset in the twilight. Obviously, we're starting at the Washington Monument. And the fountain right here next to the monument. It is after 6:30 in Washington, D.C., so there's even more parking all around the monuments and memorials. So if the government shutdown is impacting any of your planned fun, it's okay. There are still things to do in Washington, D.C. And here, one of the awesome things to do is just take a walk. In the evening. So parking is pretty easy at 6:30 p.m. or later. I think it's easy all the time, but that's just me. I know all the places to park. And we still have a handful of gardens and parks that are still blooming, or gardens that are still blooming. So I'm right here next to the Washington Monument, where folks are playing something, dodgeball, I think. And we're right across the street from the White House. Now, we've been to the White House multiple times. Hi, Kyle. We've been to the White House multiple times, so we're not going up there today. The focus of our walk today is all about the museums. Because when the government shutdown began a few days ago, the Smithsonian museums were still funded, but their funding ends this weekend. And so if the government shutdown continues, then the Smithsonian museums will be closed next week. But always, always, always check the websites for the most current information about everything going on in Washington, D.C. So what to do during shutdown? There's a lot to do during shutdown. Hello, Antoine. Nice to meet you. Oh, it's kickball. This is a kickball league right here on the National Mall. I used to play softball. Not here. I actually did get to play softball right in front of the White House on the south lawn there, the fields there. It's kind of hard to peek through there at the White House. We're not going to go there today. See my prior streams for all of my visits to the White House, day, night. You can get right up to White House gates. From this side, the view is different, and the view is actually farther away from the south side. If you're on Pennsylvania Avenue proper, where the pedestrian walk is, you'll get even closer to the White House on the north side. Hello, hi, or Jai. Hi, Michael, how are you? Hi, Teddy. Teddy, not cool, Teddy. Come on now. Come on now. I don't need to be banning people right away today. Come on. So we're gonna do, today's walk is night at the museums. We're gonna take a look at those museums. That will be closing if the government shutdown continues. So everywhere around the National Mall, there are so many signs and maps, everything you need to orient yourself to the area and make sure that you don't miss anything. The fact that there is a shutdown means that few things are limited, but gardens and parks and memorials are always here. And they're always beautiful, day or night. I always recommend that folks visit everything here during the day and then come back at night for a completely different view. So we're going to take a circuit around the National Mall. Hello, Billie Jeans. Nice to meet you. Yeah, no, you're not going to see my face. I've done that on prior streams, but not today. Not today. But we're going to take around kind of the National Mall and just quickly point out all of the Smithsonian museums. So if you've not been to Washington, D.C., when the shutdown ends, come on down, because the Smithsonian museums are free. That includes the National Zoo. The National Zoo is free as well. Now, for some exhibits and at certain times of year, you do need a timed ticket. And that's just to ensure that you can get in, but you don't have to pay for the ticket. For IMAX shows, I think you do have to pay for the IMAX show. And out at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum in Chantilly, Virginia, the Udvar-Hazy Center, where you get to see the big planes like an SR-71 and a space shuttle, you do have to pay for parking out there. Yeah, compared to the entire population of the world, Billy, that's right. Practically no one has been to Washington, D.C. So that's why we take a walk here. I've lived and worked in and near here all my life. So I'm very fortunate to be here very frequently. And all of the city is really great for walking. Most of it is very flat. So walking around this area, the National Mall area, is really flat. Once you get to Capitol Hill, obviously it's a hill. And then when you get near Rock Creek, there's kind of a little valley there. So that gets a little hilly as well. Davyverse, hi! Lydia, nice to see you. Andrew, very good to see you. Exquisitor. What need to have this obelisk? Yeah, what need to, this is to honor George Washington. Is why we have this obelisk. This is a big obelisk. This is the Washington Monument. And these are people playing kickball, having a good old time. There's always something fun happening here. Every time of year, this is just such a great place for community. All kinds of sports going on. I used to play softball here. It was great. Davey, I hope you're having a great week, and thank goodness it's Friday tomorrow. Thank goodness it's Friday. It has been a week, but we've had a really good week of streaming. The weather has been magnificent. Oh my God, and I forgot to spray my bug spray again. Again, I forgot to spray my bug spray. Well, hopefully it's a little chillier. Hopefully the mosquitoes won't attack me, but I'm sure they will. I've been getting attacked every night by these mosquitoes. And I have bug spray in the car, and I keep forgetting to do it. Oh, good for you, Davey. Good for you, Davey. So our first museum along the way here is the Museum of African American History. This is the newest museum on the National Mall. And we'll get a better view of it when we come up to the corner here. I'm so glad it's Friday in 10 minutes for you, Davey. I've got, what, five more hours and 10 minutes. But then I really need it to be Saturday. I really need it to be. Friday is still a really busy day for me. But we have a holiday this weekend in the United States. Most people have a bank holiday, as you call it, on Monday. So hooray for the bank holiday. This is the Museum of African American History. It is massive. It is quite beautiful. So Davey, I actually like it. There are certain times of day when the coppery metal that surrounds the building is lit up, and it has the effect of a basket. So yeah, in certain light, it does look very, very boxy and very geometric. But when we come back around, so we're going to go all the way around the mall, and when we come back down, it'll be lit up, and you'll see it'll look really different when we come back around. Which is why I like to visit at all times of day and evening, because everything looks different in different light. Hello, Jay. Coppery is not a word. I agree with you. Kuprick is Kuprick the word for copper-y? I'm just saying. Could be. So the official name, Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. That's a mouthful. At a good museum here. I'm gonna have to talk now because there's music emanating so loudly from this car, and if they would just move along, good, they've moved along, I'd be happy. I have had all of my copyright claims have been resolved except for one. So you can kind of see the lights starting to appear now. It looks better when it's even darker. So when we come back around, we'll see it. ASDF, I agree. It's the twilight. It's the just before twilight. It's actually just past golden hour. It's kind of golden peachy hour, for sure. And there's some kind of fest. Did I say fest? There's some kind of fest going on here at the National Mall. There are booths and tents set up. Oh geez, and more music. So I may have to talk loudly for a while until we get past all the music. Okay, that was it. Okay, it was Bon Jovi playing. That's what it was. So we're gonna just keep talking until the music is gone, because they will definitely copyright claim me. Again, maps are everywhere. You can't get lost here. And I totally recommend just wandering. Just wandering. I know, Davy first, and the one that would not release the claim was at one of these museums, and I'll show you. There was an outdoor exhibit at the Museum of the Native American, and it had music playing, and it was, instrumental, native songs, and it happened to be on my video, and the video got claimed, and I couldn't even figure out what the music was, but then thankfully it tells you exactly where it is. And I disputed it, and number one, I was talking over it for most of the time, and number two, it's a museum exhibit outside, but they would not release the claim. So that's a really boring story on a really nice night, so I'll be done with that. This is 14th Street. We have gone north on We've gone north on 14th Street many times. This is where the route we've taken when we have visited the World War I Memorial and walked all the way to the White House from here on 14th Street. Now the next Smithsonian Museum just steps from the one that we just passed, is the Museum of American History. And that one is right here, up a little hill. Hello, Ira. Nice to see you. The National Museum of American History. So this is the museum that you'll visit to see the Star-Spangled Banner and the First Lady's gowns are here. That's always a very, popular exhibit. But the Star-Spangled Banner is the big one. And I've done in my stream from Fort McHenry to tell you all about that. Now, this could be trouble because this is live music ahead of me. We'll see what happens. I can't just keep talking over every bit of music, so we'll have to see what happens to this stream. Hello, Vitamin Banana Minerals.
Welcome to Dominion America. We're going to get started in just 5 minutes. And here's what's amazing. You're here, and all of our happy friends from the Washington Monument and the Capitol have speakers that can hear this microphone right now. So we're inviting the entire National Mall to this place right here.
Hey, Terrell. How are you?
Shout.
I have no idea what's going on here. There's something super loud going on. This is just beautiful. So this is the museum, National Museum of American History, here on the National Mall. And if the government shutdown continues into next week, then these museums will be closed. So they were open this week, but they will be closed next week if the shutdown continues. But don't fear, when the shutdown ends, come back. Come to the museums because they're free. And they're amazing inside. They're beautiful outside, but they are amazing inside. So I think if I heard the speaker correctly, this is some kind of a revival happening here. So this may get really loud. And I may have to change my plan and talk. Big hey! Hi, mentor. Yes, Washington, D.C. Witam I Paz. Hi, Teresa. Teresa, are you Polish? I say that because what you're writing looks familiar to me. My family's Russian and Polish, so I've seen a little bit. That's just beautiful. That is just beautiful. This is the, quote, back entrance of the Museum of American History. Now across the mall, straight across the mall, that's the Department of Agriculture building. That is not a Smithsonian museum. We've walked down that side of the building before, down that side of the mall before, and checked out all those buildings. Now, had I known there was so much music going on here, I might not have planned this walk today. So we'll see what the copyright gods do to this video. I'm on a 100-day streak on Duolingo for Polish. Jak się masz? Because it's too late for Dzień dobry. Right? Is it Dobranoc now? Is it Dobranoc time now? So take our last look back here at the Museum of American History. So you really, if you really want to dig into these museums, you can't do them all in a day. I would say, for me, if you have a family, 2 in a day is a good plan. Now, they're all within walking distance, so it's not about the travel, but there's just so much to see in all of the museums. So you want to make sure you give yourself lots of time to take in all the exhibits and all the activities. But the next one, right next door here, coming up on our left, is the museum, the Natural History Museum. So this is where the dinosaurs are. And the gem and mineral collection. The Hope Diamond is here. Thank you, Daryl. Where did I hide the body? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I didn't need to hide any of them yet. But up here, the Natural History Museum, both the American History Museum and the Natural History Museum, for me, would be an all-day adventure, each one. But for a family to quickly go through, still, you can only do 2 in a day. And for some, when we get down to the Air and Space Museum, that also is an all-day adventure. So, yeah. Okay, that music is it's really worrying me now. So hopefully I won't have to take this down with all this music. I'll just keep talking. I'll just keep talking like a maniac every time the music plays. If I get really close and it's really loud, I may just go mute for a minute. That tower that you see there, that is the old post office tower. And I may say this incorrectly. I've always asked if someone wants to correct me, go ahead. But that is the height restriction level in Washington, D.C. No building can be taller than the top of that tower. It's not the Washington Monument. Our buildings are rather short and controlled here. That's actually a really interesting view here. These are the tunnels that go under the National Mall. Makes it easy for commuters to get across the city in a day. That's kind of cool. Hello, Rob. Trump did make it a hotel. And now it's a Waldorf Astoria. Sorry. History's always on my brain. It's a Waldorf Astoria hotel now. It's not a Trump whatever hotel. And it is a beautiful structure. And now that I'm right here where these speakers are, I really hope this is just someone playing random music and not a commercial song that's going to crush my stream. Okay, it is a revival.
Right here in our nation's capital.
Okay.
I want to just welcome you. I want to introduce a friend of mine. This is Marcus Wendell. He's the director.
Hey, Ben, how are you?
Marcus, welcome.
Good to see you, Ben. Thanks for joining. This is a little Twilight Rome, but there's a big revival happening on the mall, so you can hear all this noise. That little castle between the trees there, that's a castle. That's the anchor of the Smithsonian Castle building. And hopefully when these guys start praying, it'll be a little quieter.
I just want to be really clear. So starting at 10 p.m. tonight, you can see all these tents lining the side.
So this is the
It's literally going all the way from right across the street from the Capitol.
Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History. I'm sorry, I know this is really annoying.
For every state, and there are hundreds, thousands of musicians, intercessors, and evangelists, and we're not going to gather over these 4 days around any.
I've run into a revival, y'all.
Gathering around even a brand or an event, those things have value, but what we
The Smithsonian Museum of Natural History. There is a lot of history and a lot of noise. Hi, Robin. Nice to meet you. So I started this stream because I wanted to share today that if the government shutdown continues, then the Smithsonian museums will be closed next week. They were still open this week. They were funded. even after the funding shutdown stopped or the funding ceased for the government. But their funding runs out next week. But when the shutdown is over, come on over and visit, because this museum, this is a favorite too. This is where the dinosaurs are here. This is the Museum of Natural History. And over here is a petrified tree. You get a good view of the front door here to the Natural History. Hey Johnny, nice to see you. We're just checking out all the museums that may close next week if the government doesn't resolve this budget. But we're also going to get a peek at the Capitol. Now, if the light is on at the top of the Capitol Dome, that means they're still in session. Oh, the street lights just came on. Awesome. If the light is on at the tippy top of the Capitol Dome, then we know that they're still working. When the light goes out at the top of the dome, then they've gone home, and we know there won't be a resolution quite yet. Johnny Bravo on Cartoon Network. Yay. I was a huge Dexter's Lab fan when I was little. Love me some Dexter's Lab. Dexter and Dee Dee. Dexter and Dee Dee. Yeah, and look, we get a bonus of a Christian revival happening here on the National Mall. We welcome all kinds. Faye, I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are doing well. Taking a peek back at the Natural History Museum here on the National Mall. So we really hope, for a lot of reasons, that our government resolves the shutdown. But for some of us, to make sure that these museums can continue to operate. And I do apologize. These speakers are so loud, and they're everywhere. So probably no matter where I walk, it's going to be super loud with people praying. I guess it's better that they're praying than cursing. So that's okay. So you probably can't see this, but all around the museums are gardens. So even if you happen to be in Washington, D.C., after hours, after the museums close, or even during a shutdown, you can still enjoy the gardens. And this is the pollinator garden. I actually did a walk down here. So this is between the Natural History Museum and the Sculpture Garden, which we have visited before, is the pollinator garden. Which is fun to check out. Now I can see the Capitol, and I can see the light is on in the tippy top of the Capitol. So they better be doing their work. Now we get closer, we'll be able to see whether it's the House and the Senate. I'm sorry, the House or the Senate or both that are in session. And we'll be able to see that through the skylights on either side, either chamber of Congress. Now this is the first museum that was closed. We saw this the other day. This is the Sculpture Garden that we visited 2 weeks ago. And this was closed as soon as the shutdown began. So the National Gallery of Art and the Sculpture Garden, they closed right away. They're not included in the Smithsonian or the formal list of Smithsonian museums. So they closed first. There's just a little peek. It's hard to see the sculpture. I think this one should be open at night. This one closes at 5 o'clock, even when it is operational. The Sculpture Garden closes at 5 o'clock. So we've just taken a very short walk, a real leisurely, well, I took a real leisurely 30 minutes from the Washington Monument all the way down there, but I walked really slowly. 30 minutes from the Washington Monument to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, to the National Museum of American History, then the Natural History Museum, now the National Sculpture Garden. If I weren't walking, you could do it in 10 minutes. You could walk here in 10 minutes. But you need all day to check out the museums. Need a little peek at one of these. So when I visited this walkway, this is the path that was closed. So this pathway has been repaved. So they finished that one up. And this piece of art was not here, or at least it was hidden. The building you see through, let's go over here. The building you see straight ahead with the American flag, that's the National Archives. Straight ahead. Oh, Cone for Daryl. Cone. There you go. There you go, Daryl. And the best view of the National Archives is from right inside that sculpture garden. The National Sculpture Garden is part of the National Gallery of Art, which is across 7th Street here. So 7th Street right here, about 5 blocks north of here. What was it, Monday night? I think Monday night I was here. I can't remember what night it was. Became my highest viewed stream ever. And I think I've had like 28,000 views on that stream. I had 300 people on that stream. I have no idea. So thank you all for joining me and listening to my ramblings, like verbally and physically, my ramblings. But yeah, I don't know, that area is so busy and mad and crazy. And I was just going to go by really quickly, and then thousands and thousands of people tuned in. Let's see who's traveling. Some important person coming around the block. Are they going the other way? Oh, they're going the other way. So up there's some important government person going up 7th Street. All the police cars and all the great big SUVs going up 7th Street. But this is a good hub. Like if you want to center yourself for walking, for just exploring without really having a plan, find a way, park around 7th Street. So the two main roads that go east and west on either side of the National Mall, this really forms the north-south divider, like the hemisphere of Washington, D.C. is the National Mall. And the main road on the north is Independence Avenue, and the main road to the south is Constitution. But these little streets here, this is Madison Drive, and on the other side, Jefferson Drive. Those two little streets, that's where you park. Do not park in a garage. Park on these little streets. You can park for a few bucks. I did get a ticket yesterday. But I made the mistake of feeding the machine. I did pay for parking at the machine, but I parked across the street at a meter. And it's a rare thing that there are actually meters, and I didn't notice it. So I did feed the machine, but not the meter. So technically I paid for my park. I could probably argue the ticket, but I'm not going to. So this is a good shot up 7th Street, where we were a few nights ago. All right, let's take a gander. Ooh, I said gander. I'm sounding old. Let's take a look at the National Gallery of Art. This one was already closed due to the shutdown. But when you get here, when it's not shut down, I know, Johnny, I'm going to pay it right away too, because DC is vicious with parking tickets. And their parking tickets are hot pink. They're like, they're very bright. So you know you've gotten a ticket. So when the shutdown is over and you are able to visit Washington, D.C., all of these museums are right here. And all of these museums are free. Free, free, free. What a great vacation. Like if you're stuck for where to go on vacation, and bonus, you don't want to spend too much money, come here, visit all the museums, take advantage of everything that's free, and then treat yourself to a really nice dinner. Go to Georgetown for dinner, or go to one of the really posh restaurants for dinner, because everything you do during the day, you can do for free. All right, as soon as I pass this bus, the lights are really bright. And the weather has changed here, at least for now. It's definitely in the mid 60s, low 60s now. Humidity is gone. It was so humid yesterday. Humidity's gone. Maybe this is it. Maybe it's fall. Maybe it's fall. Let's head up there close to the Capitol. We'll be able to see which chamber is in session because the light is on in the cupola at the top of the dome. This is a good view here. Daryl, I was livid. Ooh, there goes another light. I was livid. You know, the first kid I yelled at was bad enough. And then when I came back, he had friends. And they were on that Navy Memorial. I was ticked. And I did give him a right talking to. You guys heard me when I was just talking to the one kid. When I came back, there were 3 of them. And I chewed them all out. I'm sure they didn't care. Hi, Arthur. Yeah, I'm in Washington, D.C. You're going to see the Capitol building in about 2 minutes when I get past these trees. He needed backup. No. So we saw take another look back. The National Gallery of Art. There's the Washington Monument lit up, but because the sunset is in the background, you can't see that too well. And then there's and I apologize, I have to look at the sign. I think I always call this the annex, but it's not. I think they call it something else. But the other building of the National Gallery of Art, because there's lots of art here. Yes, ASDF, because that's local. So that's the District of Columbia that enforces the parking, and there are still people that have to work here. There are essential government employees that are still working, and then there are all the businesses that operate here in Washington, D.C. So they're all doing their thing. I'm still working. Shutdown has not affected me yet. Oh, good Lord. Okay. All right. In a minute, I'm going to go on mute just for a second. There's something kind of unseemly happening in front of me. All right, I may be past it now. You don't want to know. Trust me, you don't want to know. So this is the other, this is the other building of the other part of the National Gallery of Art here. Oh, and you know what? It's lit up nicely. So I'm going to take a little walk this way. We can see a few sculptures hanging out on this side of the building. Hi, Fluxura. Yes, very much inspired by Greek architecture, Roman architecture, French architecture, modern architecture. We have it all in Washington, D.C. And I think I've covered all of it on my streams. At one point or another, we've covered every single kind of architecture you can imagine. Nice to see you on the stream. Thanks for joining. Now it's gotten really quiet. It's 7:19 here. And it looks like everybody's kind of out of the city. Oh, you can't see here. So a little bit of the Louvre over here with these triangular pyramid skylights coming out of the floor over here, coming out of the ground over here. But not easy to see because there's a walkway that connects these two buildings. Hi, Joey. This is Washington, D.C. We're in Washington, D.C. We're actually between the two parts of the National Gallery of Art. So this is one part, and over here is the East. That's what it's called, the East Building. I knew it wasn't called the Annex. I don't know what I was thinking when I said it might be called the Annex, because that was not correct. It's the East Building. We'll get up close here with some art. But if you visit, I believe there's a tunnel underneath these buildings. Yeah, there is. There's a tunnel underneath these buildings. So you don't have to cross this cobbly street.